If you watched my last video about the 6 cruise ships stuck in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, you know the immediate crisis. Missiles near ships, passengers confined to cabins, emergency alerts at 3 a.m. But here's what's happening that nobody's talking about. This isn't just about 6 ships anymore. This is about the complete collapse of Middle East cruising as we know it. The Suez Canal? Closed. The Red Sea? Off limits. Every single world cruise scheduled for 2026? Being rerouted around the entire continent of Africa. We're talking 5,000 extra miles, 12 extra days at sea, and passengers finding out mid-voyage that their Mediterranean vacation just became a month-long African odyssey. Today, I'm breaking down the 13 brutal realities of what happens when global shipping routes implode and cruise lines have to improvise in real time. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for in your cruise contract, how to protect your money when itineraries change overnight, and why the Middle East shortcut might be gone for years. Stick around, because what I'm about to share could save you thousands of dollars and weeks of confusion on your next cruise. Let's get into it. First up, the reality of what I call the ghost itinerary. When regional tensions spike, cruise lines don't just cancel, they pivot. Hard. But here's the problem. They often don't know where they're going yet. According to reports from March 2026, Maersk, MSC, and CMA CGM all suspended Suez Canal transits within 48 hours of the Iran strikes. These are the biggest shipping companies in the world, and they had no backup plan ready to go. For cruise passengers, this means you could spend 5 to 7 days at sea literally drifting, while corporate offices in Miami or Geneva negotiate with new ports you've never heard of. MSC Magnifica passengers booked on the 2026 World Cruise? They were told on September 4, 2025 that their itinerary was changing. Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia? Gone. Replaced with, well, they'd figure it out. That's months of planning. Flights booked, hotels reserved, shore excursions purchased. All based on an itinerary that no longer exists. And the first thing you need to pack for a 2026 cruise? An extreme level of flexibility. Reality number 2. The Cape of Good Hope tax. Next up, the long way round. If a ship can't use the Suez Canal, it has to go around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa. This isn't just a detour. It's a 3,500 nautical mile addition to your trip. According to industry reports, this adds 10 to 14 days to a typical voyage. For you as a passenger, this means something called sea day fatigue. You're not stuck in a bad way. The ship is moving. But those amenities you planned for a 7-day cruise, the internet packages, the specialty dining reservations, the spa appointments, they weren't designed to last for 3 weeks of non-stop sailing. And here's the kicker. You might be getting 12 extra days of cruise, but you're not getting 12 extra days off work. Your return flight from Rome? Still leaving on March 15th. Except now your ship doesn't dock in Rome until March 27th. You're missing your flight. You're missing work. And the cruise line's response? Sorry, force majeure. Not our fault. Hey guys, welcome back to Cruise Compendium. If you missed my last video about the 6 ships physically stuck in Middle Eastern ports right now, go watch that first. This video builds on that crisis and shows you the bigger picture of how this is affecting the entire cruise industry in 2026. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this situation is developing every single day, and we're the only channel giving you real-time updates on what's actually happening. Let's keep going. Even if your ship manages to dock in a Middle Eastern port, you might not be allowed to leave the pier. According to passenger reports from the stranded ships in Dubai and Doha, local security has moved to essential-only status. This means shore access is restricted to official cruise line excursions only. That plan you had to wander the souks on your own, explore local markets, find authentic food away from the tourist traps? It's the first thing to go. You're safe. But your freedom of movement is highly curated. You're essentially a tourist in a controlled zone, not a free traveler exploring a new culture. Reality number 4. Lights out. Navigation. This one's genuinely unsettling for passengers who don't understand maritime security protocols. Ships transiting near high-tension zones often implement what's called low-profile navigation. At night, all balcony lights stay off. Curtains must remain drawn. Some ships even turn off external deck lighting entirely. This isn't because the ship is in immediate danger. It's standard maritime protocol to stay invisible to regional radar and visual spotting. But for passengers, it turns your romantic evening cocktail on the balcony into a dark, eerie affair. And nobody tells you this is coming until the captain makes an announcement at 9 p.m. telling everyone to close their curtains. Let's get brutally honest about your money. Cruise contracts are heavily weighted in favor of the cruise line when it comes to geopolitical instability. If they cancel your port in Israel, Egypt, or Jordan for safety reasons, they are not legally required to give you a refund, just a change in itinerary. According to the fine print buried in every cruise contract, acts of war, civil unrest, and government restrictions all fall under force majeure, which means the cruise line can cancel half your ports, reroute you around Africa, add 12 days to your trip, and legally owe you nothing. MSC told passengers on the 2026 World Cruise that the reroute around Africa was happening at no extra cost. Sounds generous, right? Except those passengers lost ports they specifically booked for. Petra in Jordan, Luxor in Egypt, Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. And the replacement? Extra sea days and ports in Namibia, Mauritius, and Cape Verde that they never asked for. Some passengers love the change, others feel robbed. But legally, MSC doesn't owe them a dime. Reality number 6, the connectivity blackout. In a crisis, the ship's communication system becomes a tactical resource, not a passenger amenity. While Starlink has made ship internet better than ever, the captain has the authority to throttle or completely disable guest Wi-Fi to prioritize ship-to-shore security communications. Imagine being in a high-tension zone and not being able to WhatsApp your family for 12 hours. You can't post to Instagram. You can't check the news. You can't even email your boss to explain why you're going to be 2 weeks late getting home. It's a standard safety protocol, but it's a massive stressor for passengers who feel completely cut off from the world. Reality number 7, the visa nightmare. Here's a hard truth nobody talks about. The U.S. State Department is great at issuing Level 4 Do Not Travel advisories, but they are not a travel agency. If your ship is diverted to a port you don't have a visa for, the embassy can't wave a magic wand and fix it. In 2026, we've seen passengers stuck on ships because they didn't have the right paperwork for the new African ports the ship fled to. South Africa requires visas for Americans in some cases. Namibia has entry requirements. Mauritius has immigration procedures. And if you're on a ship that suddenly shows up in Walvis Bay instead of Dubai, you might not be allowed off the ship at all. Now, if you're learning something new here, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this video with anyone planning a cruise in 2026 or 2027, especially world cruises or Middle East itineraries. Because the more people who understand these realities, the better prepared we all are when things go sideways. Let's keep going. Reality number 8, repatriation chaos. If a cruise is terminated early due to conflict, the cruise line is legally responsible for getting you home. But home might involve a 40-hour journey through 3 different neutral countries. The airline tickets they book for you are rarely direct flights. According to passengers on Main Shift 4 and Main Shift 5, TUI Cruises is arranging flights home, but they're routing people through Dubai, then Munich, then onward to final destinations. That's 3 flights, 3 airports, 3 chances for delays, cancellations, or lost luggage. You're at the mercy of whatever seats are available in a region where everyone is trying to leave at the same time. Reality number 9, the fuel surcharge. Surprise! Sailing 3,500 extra miles around Africa burns millions of dollars in extra fuel. And guess who might end up paying for it? According to industry reports, most major cruise lines have reintroduced geopolitical fuel supplements in 2026. Check your fine print. Some lines can charge your onboard account for extra fuel costs, even after you've already booked and paid for your cruise. It's buried in the terms and conditions under variable costs, subject to change. You thought you paid $5,000 for your cruise. But when you get your final bill at the end of a rerouted voyage, there's an extra $300 fuel surcharge you never agreed to. And legally, they can do it. Reality number 10, supply chain breakdown. A cruise ship is a floating city that consumes 30,000 eggs a day. Those eggs are usually picked up in Middle Eastern ports for cruises in that region. If those ports close, the ship's supply chain breaks. According to maritime logistics experts, ships can carry about 7 to 10 days of provisions before they need to restock. But if you're on a rerouted voyage that adds 12 days of unexpected sea time, you'll notice the quality and variety of the buffet start to decline after day 10. Fresh produce runs out first, then fresh seafood. Then you're eating frozen and canned goods for the last week of your cruise. It's not dangerous, but it's definitely not the luxury experience you paid for. The crew are the heart and soul of any cruise, but in 2026, many crew members come from the very regions these ships are avoiding: Philippines, Indonesia, India. When a ship is rerouted and can't reach its scheduled crew change port, those crew contracts get extended involuntarily. A crew member who was supposed to finish their contract in Dubai and fly home to Manila? Now they're stuck on the ship for an extra 2 weeks with no clear end date. Tired, worried, homesick crew leads to a completely different vibe on board. Service quality drops, smiles become forced, and passengers feel it. Reality number 12. The insurance escape hatch. If you want to avoid being stuck financially, you need cancel for any reason insurance, also called CFAR. Standard travel insurance excludes acts of war, civil unrest, and government travel advisories. According to insurance industry data, over 60% of cruise passengers don't have CFAR coverage. They have basic trip insurance that explicitly won't pay out if geopolitical events force a cancellation. If you see a headline about Middle East tensions 3 days before your cruise and you want to cancel, standard insurance won't refund you. Only CFR gives you the power to say, "Nope, not this time," and get your money back. Reality number 13. The 2027 industry pivot. Finally, the industry is changing permanently. Cruise lines are moving their entire 2027 deployment away from the Middle East. MSC, Princess, Holland America, Cunard, Silversea, Viking, Virgin Voyages. All of them are routing world cruises and repositioning voyages around Africa instead of through Suez. According to cruise industry news, this shift being called the Atlantic Loop strategy. Ships that used to rely on the Suez Canal are now being designed around itineraries that don't have a single choke point. More calls in South Africa, more time in South America, more transatlantic crossings, less risk, less drama, but also less access to the historical and cultural treasures of Egypt, Jordan, and the Red Sea region. All right, guys, that's the brutal reality of cruising in 2026 when the Middle East shortcut is no longer an option. This isn't just about 6 ships stuck in Dubai anymore. This is about the entire industry being forced to rewrite how they move ships around the world. Passengers are safe, but the cruise you booked might become a completely different voyage overnight. And unless you understand these 13 realities, you're going to be shocked, frustrated, and possibly out thousands of dollars when it happens to you. If this video opened your eyes to what's really happening in the cruise industry right now, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Drop a comment below. Tell me if you've ever had a cruise rerouted and how the cruise line handled it. Did they give you notice? Did they compensate you? Your experience helps the entire community understand what to expect. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Cruise Compendium. We're building the smartest, most informed cruise community on YouTube. We don't just talk about ships and destinations. We talk about the real stuff, the contracts, the legal fine print, the industry secrets, the stuff that actually matters when things go wrong. Now, I know this video was heavy, a lot of bad news, a lot of worst-case scenarios, but I want to end on a practical note. The world is still an incredible place to explore, and cruising is still one of the best ways to see it. You just have to be smarter than the average passenger. Here's what you can do right now to protect yourself. First, read your cruise contract. I know it's 80 pages of legal jargon, but spend 20 minutes on it. Look for the words force majeure, itinerary changes, and acts of war. Understand what the cruise line is legally allowed to do when things go wrong. Second, buy cancel for any reason insurance. It costs about 40% more than standard trip insurance, but it's the only thing that gives you real protection when geopolitical events make you uncomfortable. Third, Avoid itineraries that rely on a single choke point. If the entire cruise depends on the Suez Canal, the Strait of Hormuz, or any other narrow waterway in a volatile region, you're taking a risk. Choose cruises that have backup routes built into the plan. Fourth, pack flexibility. If you're the kind of traveler who needs every port, every excursion, every detail to go exactly as planned, maybe cruising in 2026 isn't for you. But if you can roll with changes, adapt to new destinations, and see reroutes as unexpected adventures instead of disasters, you'll be fine. And finally, stay informed. Subscribe to this channel. Follow cruise industry news. Pay attention to State Department travel advisories. The passengers who get blindsided are the ones who book a cruise and then ignore the news until embarkation day. Don't be that person. I've put together a Safe Seas checklist in the description below. It's a free resource that helps you vet your next cruise itinerary for geopolitical risk. It's got questions to ask your travel agent, red flags to watch for in contracts, and a list of the safest cruise regions for 2027. Would you like me to do a follow-up video on the top 5 safest cruise regions for 2027? Or maybe a deep dive into exactly what force majeure means in cruise contracts and how to fight back when cruise lines use it against you? Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Travel safe, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching Cruise Compendium.